Everybody be cool. Don't freak. It's gonna be okay. Nothing is changing. It's just time for a little branding update. All right. The channel name has changed. It is no longer Gribbly. It is now Max Cooper AVL, which squares with my Instagram handle and my website and all that. It's just bringing everything into the umbrella that is the photographic genius you have come to expect on this channel. I know I'm going to get some pushback here. I know, and in fact, I've already gotten a little bit of pushback on this. How can you let us down like this, Gribbs? What has happened to you? You've sold out. And let me assure you, I have not sold out. I've given out because there's no money involved. There is nothing my audience hates more than change. And that's why I'm wearing the old hat, right? We're smoking the most handsome legend ever, and in it is some Black Frigate from Les Brady. Pretty sure all of my tobacco comes from Les Brady at this point, but very familiar stuff. All this familiar. Change is not always bad, y'all. It's gonna be okay. It's good. So, okay. Gribbs trivia, Max Cooper AVL trivia coming right up. When I first started making videos, that was three names ago. My channel name has changed before in the past. We started out with my favorite pipe, and I would start every video with, this is my favorite pipe. It was so cringy. It was really bad. And then I started selling pipes. I would buy pipes on eBay and restore them and sell them. And the brand of that was called Defiant Pipes. The brand of my Etsy shop was Defiant Pipes. And so I changed the channel name to Defiant Pipes. And that went on for a couple of years, I think. And then in November of 16, I became Gribbly, and I changed the name again to match the brand of the overly conceptualized art project I was running at the time, and that went on for 4 years, and made tens of dollars. So I just wanted, Gribbly no longer fits because that project is done. And I did an interview with the Lensless podcast, which is this photo nerd thing, and they couldn't get past all the different names. They couldn't get past all the different names all my projects had, and so that was like the title of the episode was like Max ? Gribbly ? And so that was when I knew. I was like, I just need to consolidate. So I hope this will be my last ever channel name change because it's confusing for me too, right? So this is the Sunday Andy Social Hour. That time each week when I smoke my pipe and complain about humanity while answering all of his questions. And if you are a piece of humanity with a question for me, leave it in the comments down below with the hashtag ask. Damn it. What are we gonna do? I'm at ask Max, I guess. You can still call me Gribbs if you want to. If I based anything on what people called me, I would be in a lot of trouble. So, hashtag ask Gribbs if you want. Ask Max. I don't care. I'll answer either one. Just leave your comment down in the question below. I need some coffee. Can you hear the rain on the roof? It's pouring, and it's like 40 degrees outside, and it's just really nasty. So I'm glad to be in here with my kerosene heater, which is making an awful lot of noise, actually. And can we talk about this? What happened to the kerosene cans? Like, is it a government thing? Did the government just come in and say, no, that's way too simple. We need like some like basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you pour the kerosene into your hand and then pour it in to the heater with this fancy new safety nozzle. Like, I get kerosene all over my hands every time I use it. Anyway, your questions coming up. Francis Barnett asks Gribbs it's a typo. Ask Gribbs, do you have a favorite gun-related song? He says that his is "The Gun" by Lou Reed. I never heard that. Not a big Lou Reed person. I really my only exposure to Lou Reed was the Metallica travesty that they did together, and I would really like to get into Lou Reed a little bit more because I was more interested in the Lou Reed part of that equation than the Metallica part. What's your favorite gun-related song? The Devil's Right Hand by Steve Earle. I think. I mean, Don't Take Your Guns to Town is pretty hard to beat. But I think The Devil's Right Hand it's got more flavor. I mean, Cash covered The Devil's Right Hand, so that's a pretty good pedigree, I think. Also, which would you choose for an everyday carry? A Derringer or a Blunt Line Special? We gotta deep dive into this a little bit. Is it an actual Derringer? Like the old school Derringer that was like a 41 short rimfire or something like that? I'm not carrying that. That is not, I mean, those bullets were like this long and like this wide. They were slower than a 45 ACP. Blunt Line Special, on the other hand, was a damn 45 Long Colt, if I'm not mistaken, and had a big old barrel on it. So both of these guns are terrible for carry. I think I would take the Blunt Line Special and cut it down. That would be my my answer, because the Derringer, I mean, why even, like, basically the original Derringers didn't have enough power to get out of their own way. A30-06 asks Gribbs, what smells worse? Put these in order: paper mill, protein rendering facility, chemical plant, nail salon, sewage treatment facility, pig farm, or other. I could add a choice. Well, sewage treatment facility is going to be the least smelly of all those, actually. I mean, I guess depending on what the chemical plant does, maybe the chemical plant would be least, and then nail salon, and then sewage treatment facility, or yeah, and then paper mill. Paper mill is really bad. It's worse than pig farm unless there are multiple pig farms. Like, unless you're in down east North Carolina and it's just like that, like pig farming is like the central pillar of economic activity. Yeah, when you get multiple pig farms, that's worse than a paper mill for sure. But I think the protein rendering facility is gonna have to. It's up there. It's either number one or number two. I mean, the thing about a paper mill is it smells bad, but you don't feel like you're inhaling decay. And that's the situation with the protein rendering facility. This is not a question, but I'm gonna read it anyway, just in case my witch friend is watching. She might get a kick out of this. Grant Reynard, my first experience with witches was Griselda from the hilarious House of Frankenstein. Drunk, saucy, stumbling around a kitchen and up to no good. As I got older, I grew to understand how accurate a depiction of modern witches that actually was. Come for the comedy, leave with the best cookies ever. Danny Hicks. Oh, here we go. Why? Okay. We talk about guns an awful lot on this channel. Danny Hicks asked Gribbs your opinion of concealed carry insurance. And if you were interested, which company would you purchase? Let me Google this. Way back in a past life when I carried daily and was a member of the NRA, the NRA offered such insurance, which obviously now was just more grift by Wayne LaPierre. Like, you guys understand that, right? Like, if there's any, I mean, I assume we get enough gun questions here that I should be talking to some NRA members. You guys know, like, you got scammed, right? Ted Nugent was your first warning. So, concealed carry insurance is like, okay, so you got a legal permit to carry concealed, you end up shooting someone, you're gonna need like thousands in legal defense, and whatever else you might need. And this strikes me as a particularly American anxiety, right? I've got enough anxiety about being physically harmed that I'm gonna carry a gun daily. And then I have anxiety about the solution to my anxiety, so I have to carry insurance on my carry gun. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but like in and of itself, like, it's not a bad idea. But let's look at the system as a whole. Like, if we live in a society where we have to do this, something is wrong. All right. Before I bought a concealed carry insurance policy, I would want to see court cases, police reports, testimonials from actual people. This was always the problem when I was like into this stuff, is that like no one who carries concealed and had to shoot someone ever wants to talk about it ever again in their lives. So it's very hard to know what it's like when you're carrying around a gun, to know what it's like if you actually had to use that gun, because people generally, if you kill someone, you don't want to talk about that ever again. And so it's just, there's no information. So I would really want to see some documentation of like, okay, here's this guy, he had to shoot somebody, and he was going to go broke, but we bailed him out to the tune of $6 million. Like, I don't know what the, what kind of I would want to see proof that they would actually, because what I'm reading here is like talking about going across state lines and stuff, and like a lot of insurances don't go across state lines. Yeah, that's just a minefield, man. The other thing that I would be worried about, especially if you were in a liberal state, would be a prosecutor making the claim that since you've already gone and bought insurance, you were planning to shoot someone, and that would bug me. That would be just as much anxiety for me as not having concealed carry insurance, that a prosecutor would turn it against me. So I don't know. It seems like a real toss-up. Jeremy Harbin asks Gribbs, do you think we've reached the point where we should admit that we aren't going to stop human-produced climate change and that we are doomed? It seems the left is chasing windmills, quite literally, and the right has buried its head in the sand. Would we be better off focusing on how we can adapt as a species to this new world with geoengineering, population control, nuclear? I don't know, but I'm going to talk as if I do. In my incredibly well-educated opinion about this, I took like one class in college about environmental science. So here's the deal. I don't necessarily trust all the rhetoric that says we're approaching the point of no return, or we're past the point. Like, that to me sounds like adding a sense of urgency to the sale. You know what I mean? And on the other hand, we certainly should have a sense of urgency about reversing this stuff that we've done to the planet. But I think that now in my old age, I'm finally coming to see what the cost would be to our way of life. And would it be worth it? Yeah, probably. Are we going to do it? Nope. We're not going to do it. So in that sense, I think that maybe we have passed the point of no return, because we can't even handle wearing masks in public. How are we going to handle 50% unemployment for a decade while we retool our entire civilization? And that's what it would take. Because the deal is, like, you and I talking on YouTube, me burning my kerosene heater down here, yes, we are using energy, and we should use it as wisely as we can, but we're using like a drop in the bucket compared to the giant factories across the street that are making disposable products, single-use products, that are going to end up in the landfill or the oceans. So it's the greatest deception here is that these companies placed the onus and the blame on the consumer. So we pass all this legislation like, you can't buy incandescent light bulbs or whatever. All right. But there's literally a 30,000 square foot facility right over there running 24 hours a day. Where's the energy use actually coming? Like me in my garage with my light bulbs. And I think through nepotism and marketing, companies like Exxon and Shell and BP have told us we're to blame for buying their products. And so to actually do anything about this, I think you'd have to go to extra constitutional lengths. And maybe we should. I don't know. That's not an argument I want to have, but I don't really think it's going to happen. So should we start talking about just how we're going to live in the new world? I mean, I already am. Like, I'm already thinking, I wanted to do a photo series of snow in the mountains, and then I started thinking, when the hell do we get snow anymore? I mean, I did a video a couple of years ago. When was that? 2000, maybe it was 2018, where we got down to 9 degrees and there was snow on the ground, and that was that. Like that's it. There's not a lot of snow here anymore, and it used to be every year we had 2 or 3 good snowstorms. It's different, just in my lifetime. So yeah, we better be talking about it. Over a Pipe asks a similarly sweeping question. Ask Ribs, what would the world be like without religion? Wow. Can I just pass on that one? It seems like there are 2 camps. One says the world would be great, everybody would be more liberated or whatever without religion. The other says everybody would be going to hell without religion. And I think that the actual answer is in between those. It's the third way. I think that looking back at the last 2,000 years, you have to take into account what a civilizing influence the Catholic Church was, and for better or worse, it politically, as a political power, ruled the world through some of our, well, but then you got the Dark Ages, but then you got the Enlightenment and the Renaissance and then you got the Protestant. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think though that you could make the case that a lot of the world doesn't have religion. That when you and I, when a bunch of whiteys from southeastern United States start talking about religion, we're thinking of like overarching the huge, tremendous, stratospheric structure that Christianity is. And the same thing is true for Islam in other parts of the world. But then in the rest of the world, there's a much more decentralized style of belief and style of, you know, setting social norms and stuff like that. So it would be like South America, basically. That's how the world would be. Which has its ups and downs. I mean, some of the most beautiful places in the world, but also they've got parasites that swim up your penis when you pee in the river, right? Like, that's the only 2 things I know about South America. It's gorgeous, jungles, Raiders of the Lost Ark, penis parasites. Boom Howard likes to use emojis. So I am old and I don't know about emojis. So if I don't know what this emoji is, but he says if you're gonna emoji a tool, emoji your own tool. I have no idea what that means, but I'm gonna like it just so he knows that I read the comment. Boca to Boynton, that's not a question, sir. I can't answer it. And moving on from there, bait casting, blah, 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 blah. Oh, here's someone teaching me how to fish. I love these comments. Hang on. All right, Guru Magoo, who actually left a lengthy and very educational comment, says, I fly fish and fish conventionally. I'm not one of these fly fishing purists who disdain people who fish with spinning rods. I don't know anybody like that. Quite often, it just isn't practical to use a fly rod. Here's the problem, Guru Magoo. If it's not practical to use a fly rod, you shouldn't be fishing. That is it for your questions this week. I hope that I have answered them all satisfactorily. My ego is too big not to talk a little bit more about the name change. I'm looking through my analytics, right? And which is, by the way, the first time I've done that in like a year. Currently, I have 1,584 subscribers. So you folks out there that unsubscribe because of the name change, I know who you are. I'm going to find you. No, actually, I really don't care, y'all. I am here for the people who want to be here, and if this is the impetus for you to say bye, then please go enjoy whatever else you want to watch. But the kind of videos that I want to make are not going to get me any views. Basically, that's what I'm I'm looking at the videos that I have made that get the most views, and they're all basically product reviews. Like that's it, because that's the engine of our society is buying shit, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't. I don't want to. Not only do I not want to just like review stuff, I don't. I don't want to be a part of that. Of turning every hobby and every interest into a search for gear. That's not what it's about. And you know, the photography thing. Like I want to have a photography YouTube channel. That straight up. That's what I want to do. But I'm really struggling with how do I do that without making it every other photography YouTube channel that's just like, well, the camera I'm using today is a, you know, it's false, and it's empty and obviously a shill for consumerism. So I don't know. That's just kind of stuff that's been on my mind. But the videos I've been making this year are pretty much where I want to be. I'm pretty happy with it. So that's just kind of a state of the channel address a little bit. So I know that we don't talk about pipes very much. I mean, I'm usually, if I'm in here, I'm smoking a pipe almost always, unless I'm sick or something. And I still consider myself a YTPC loyalist. There, you know, like years back, there was somebody did a video on the life cycle of a YouTube pipe presenter, and basically the life cycle is you're super into it in the beginning, and you make all these videos, and you go through all your pipes, and you go through all your tobaccos, and you trade some tobaccos, and you do reviews, and then you quit basically. Like the minute that becomes boring, you're done. That's not what I want to do. And so that's kind of how I've moved everything over to. I just keep doing videos about things that interest me. So if you're subscribed and you don't want that, then feel free to unsubscribe. No hard feelings. Have a good day. Like, I understand. But we're gonna, for those of you who are in, we're making this happen as best I can, running my business into the ground and raising my kid. So that's where we are. Thank you so much for watching. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.